This is Facts Not Included. In this week's episode, we check out Pixar's newest film, Incredibles 2.
Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there.
Happy Father's Day to Bob Parr, one incredible dad.
Oh, right, that's their last name.
True.
I forgot about that. Anyway, what's up, guys? Welcome to Facts Not Included. I am your host, Peter Cabranes, and of course, I'm joined by the one and only wonderful Mr. Mike Votto. But we're missing
What's up,
out
guys?
on.
How you doing?
We're missing out on someone very special, and of course, you know, Antonio. Antonio's not here today. What could he be doing instead of watching Incredibles 2 and discussing it? But
Spending time with his dad.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, we're not doing that. We'll be doing that later, I suppose. But we are joined by let's just say we're going to call him the resident Pixar guy, and also the host of You Suck the podcast, a very, very fun wrestling podcast. If you want to check it out, I mean, I'm sure Matt's going to tell you. This is Matt Conklin. What's up, dude?
Honey, where's my super suit?
Wow. I think that was
Hello, everybody. I am the host, producer, and editor, and everything else of You Suck the podcast. If you're into wrestling, you can check it out on SoundCloud. Haven't done an episode in a little while. But,
wow. So I guess this plug is pointless.
But you can follow me on Twitter, though, at WWE Meme.
This man is like the John Lasseter of Pixar minus any sexual allegations.
So essentially, not John Lasseter.
Mike. So yeah, also in addition to being the creator of this podcast's logo, which I'm still waiting for my paycheck.
Well, once we get revenue streaming, you guys could help us out with that somehow. But once that starts happening,
in addition to that, I am the resident Pixar expert.
Yeah.
I always say this: the only realm of film and movies that I can match your passion and knowledge is in Pixar movies. I'm not even talking in animated movies. I'm not even talking in Disney movies. I'm talking strictly Disney Pixar movies.
Yeah, this kid eats, breathes, and sleeps Pixar. It's pretty nasty. If you guys have been listening to us since 2016, you will be well aware that we recorded a Finding Dory episode that was never, ever released because, let's just say it technically wasn't ever recorded.
He's lying.
And
it was recorded.
It was.
But
something was you guys know. It was something was wrong with the audio, and it just didn't work out. Yeah, but, you know, Matt, anytime there's a Pixar movie that comes out, Matt's going to definitely be on. So we're not going to have Matt on the show again until next year, it seems like.
Fair enough.
But I'm sure down the line we will do a full-fledged maybe Pixar episode or an episode about the theory that is clearly so strong in the world of Pixar fandom. So if Matt's open to that, I'm totally down to doing that. But today's episode is about Incredibles 2. We had just seen it 10 minutes ago. Just kidding. We had just seen it about, what? It's been 2 days now, I think?
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
3 days.
Can we talk about the funny story that happened before the movie, though? Because I feel like if people hear this, they're going to have a good laugh.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, every little Pixar short film that...
No, that's not what I'm
precedes-
talking about. That is
Stop
not
trying to
what I'm
dodge me.
talking about. Mike...
Oh, you're talking about me ordering tickets for the wrong theater.
Yes. So if anybody...
I did that. I
Yes.
did that.
So, we're going to go... I want to talk about it for like half a second because I think it's hilarious. So if anybody lives in New York City, you will know that we have an abundance of movie theaters in Manhattan. We have a ton of Regals and a ton of AMCs. And Matt had asked us which one we wanted to go to. And we were like, well, we don't care. And Matt picked one, and it was like downtown. And that's what he thought, because after spending a ton of money on concessions, we realized that the ticket person, the usher, whatever you want to call them, told us that we don't have the right tickets. So we had to somehow what is it they do? They exchanged them, I guess, for the proper showing at that current theater we were at. For 2 hours later. So we literally sat in a hotel lobby, which is in the theater, just chilling and wasting precious time in which we could have been spending watching the movie. But I will say
Literally
that
sat in the fanciest Hilton hotel for like an hour, just like bullshitting.
Matt, see, notice how
Well,
Matt's not
I had a
laughing.
great time. I know you guys did too.
No,
We
no,
had
I didn't.
a
I didn't.
tremendous time.
I had to
an
waste my entire
incredible
popcorn
time.
bag.
I feel like
We had an
Mike was
incredible time,
falling
if you
asleep.
will,
Mike was falling
watching.
asleep each time we as each minute passed. Mike was ever closer to just going into a deep slumber while we were
Pretty
sitting in
much.
those.
I was so tired.
But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like telling that story because I think that's pretty funny and so random and weird, and it never will happen again because we're never letting Matt do that.
It might happen again.
Don't let him have tickets.
All right. Well, so anyway, let's get into the movie that we saw. I mean, come on, guys. It's been 14 years since the first one. Where does the first Incredibles rank on your like all-time Pixar list, Matt?
Well, Incredibles ranks relatively low on my list of Pixar films.
Wow.
I loved the beginning sequence of it with the interviews and Bob trying to save the train, and they get trying to get to his wedding ceremony. But after that, it just kind of fell off a cliff for me. I look at it as one of the best openings ever, but then after that, it's just very bleak and dark. The environments are just so not colorful. Like in Finding Nemo, you have the Great Barrier Reef. In Cars, you have all sorts of colorful characters and stylized desert skylines. In Incredibles, we had their boring little neighborhood and his office, and sure, when he gets to that island, it's better. But as a, I don't know, 9 or 10-year-old watching it, I wanted to be wowed a little bit, and I expected to be wowed a little bit by the environments, and so growing up with it, it was just not as high on my list.
Wow, I find that so unusual at least for me, because I have it really high up. I don't know where I would rank
No,
it.
I
but
know.
it's-
Anyone who considers themselves an expert probably has that pretty high. I'd say anyone who's anyone besides me who thinks they're an expert on Pixar stuff will put either The Incredibles or any 3 of the Toy Story titles as their number 1 of all
right,
time.
of course. That's so weird. So
But that being said, Incredibles 2 blew me away. And I think it blew the first Incredibles out of the way.
Right.
I am really going to put Incredibles 2. I have seen it twice now, by the way. I'm going to put it pretty high on my list.
That's amazing, Mike. Do you have any recollection of seeing it as a kid?
Yeah, I saw the first Incredibles with I think it was my mother, a long, long time ago. Yeah, I saw it when it came out and was released, and it was probably at the time, and it probably still is my favorite Pixar film. I mean, I haven't put much thought into it as like a Pixar like favorite ranking. I'd probably put if I had to do a top 3 at least, I'd say probably the first is The Incredibles. Second, probably Finding Nemo, and the third, probably the original's Toy Story. But I agree with Matt. I think The Incredibles 2 is like absolutely fantastic. Like I wasn't sure what to really go. Like thinking when I went in the movie, I wasn't sure like it was really gonna be that great. Because I saw Finding Dory, I thought it was all right. I mean, I'm not to go off topic or anything, but the recent quality of Pixar movies with, say, the Cars 3, and then Coco I didn't see. I didn't really read any reviews. So I really don't know how that did. But Incredibles to me was, I think, absolutely true. Incredibles 2 and Incredibles 1 were both fantastic movies. So I was like pleasantly surprised that this was like a really enjoyable movie.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Incredibles 1 is like I said, it's probably up in the top 3. Again, maybe Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 2 are up there in the top 2 spots. But Incredibles 1 for me has always been one of those, like, if I'm having it's weird. It's like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Atlantis or the movie Treasure Planet from Disney.
I've seen Atlantis. Oh, I love that movie.
Right,
I haven't
and
seen that movie in over like probably. When did that movie come out? Early 2000s, right?
I want to say 2001, 2002-ish.
I literally have not seen that movie since like 2001. I want to watch it again. It was such a cool steampunk movie. It was so awesome.
Great movie. The sequel's okay. It was like a straight to DVD type of movie. But those 2 movies, like Treasure Planet and Atlantis, and including Incredibles, are like, to me, very underrated Disney movies. Except, well, maybe not Incredibles. I guess Incredibles is on a higher pedestal. But those are movies that if I'm having like a bad day, or if I haven't I want to see a good movie I haven't seen a good movie in a while, I'll literally just put them on and just enjoy myself. And Incredibles has always been that movie for me. I haven't seen the first one in a very long time though.
Same,
But
same.
but it's always been that type of movie for me, and it's like when I heard that the second one was coming out, I was so excited because I didn't know where they would go with it. Like, did you have any idea that they would continue right off from the end
No,
of the movie?
not at all.
Yeah, I felt like
Just to put this in perspective for a sec, I have Incredibles ranked 11 out of 20.
oh, so you're like
on
right,
my-
almost
on
right
my
in the middle,
all-time
basically
rankings.
right in the middle.
Um,
Wait,
yeah.
did you
So,
just
which
open
is-
up documents?
I say it was relatively low because that's way lower than probably anyone else would have it.
Right.
But Incredibles 2 could easily get to, I don't know, 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Wow. So okay, can you like? I'm sure you're looking at a Word document right now of your ranking.
It's on my phone, but yes.
Okay. So who can you quickly give us your top 11 in that case?
All right, top 11. So this is without Incredibles 2 because I haven't really put it in yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But all right, I'll go from 10. You know what 11 is? 11
Sure.
is
Yeah.
Incredibles.
Of course. Of course.
Number 10, Inside Out. Number
Wow.
9, Monsters Inc.
Wow.
8, 7, and 6 are Toy Story 3, Toy Story 2. Number 5 is Monsters University. That's a controversial one, but that's not the most controversial one on this list.
No, it won't
Number-
be.
Number 4 is Up. Number 3, Finding Nemo. 2, Wall-E, and number 1, Cars.
Wow.
Don't at me. I mean, please at me. I'd love to argue about it.
I mean, the original
Please.
Cars is great. I love the original Cars. Not saying it's nowhere near to my favorite Pixar
I
movie,
do
but it was
not
a
like
solid
it.
movie. I mean,
I don't really have any recollection of the first Cars movie other than
I saw it.
I mean I've
Wow.
seen it.
You
but, like,
guys are such good friends of mine, and you have no recollection. You being a movie guy, you haven't even gone back and watched
I
it.
think I've only
wiped
seen it
Cars
once.
3, though. I've wiped that completely from my memory, and we only saw it last year.
And you all know I've never seen Cars 2. I've totally told myself I'm never gonna watch that movie. I've heard how bad it is,
did.
and I don't want to see
I
it.
did. I watched it. I watched it just because we were going to go see Cars 3. And I went on uTorrent and I downloaded it and watched it.
Not even worth the $4 rental.
No, I didn't want to pay for it.
Well, hey, listen, Peter. I think if you have such a low opinion of it, it'll probably surprise you.
Very true. That is a solid point. It might actually be my 19th favorite Pixar.
It actually is number 19 on my list. I
Is it?
only have one movie that's worse than
Cars
that.
Cars serves a very
What's on-
important purpose for Pixar. It's
Please-
just it only exists to sell merchandise to fund new movies.
This is true. It is their number one selling merchandise maker, and so they realized that let's keep making shitty movies.
Listen.
Listen,
I don't even
yes.
know where to begin with this.
What?
Basically, what it all comes down to, this is what I tell everybody. You can say whatever you want about 2 and 3, but Cars is up there with the greats.
Sure. I'll let you think that as long as you sleep nicely at night, and that's fine.
Oh, I
Um,
will. Falling asleep to my Cars Blu-ray.
Real quickly before we get into the movie we're actually discussing, what's number 20?
The Good Dinosaur.
Okay, solid. All right.
All right.
Because if you
What
were
about Brave? Where do you rank Brave?
I have
18.
I've Brave right above The Incredibles at 12.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I
So
believe
just so
that.
you guys know,
Now-
I do have all those movies like Brave. I have that ranked above Cars 2 and 3.
Here's what I don't agree with your list again, real quick, is A Bug's Life is not in the top 10.
Nope.
Wow. Wow. You're an asshole.
I guess so.
Wow, that movie is amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's good, but when you get to the bottom of your list, it's like splitting hairs.
But
And
then
it's
again-
also, you have to walk the line between sort of being a quasi film critic and how much you enjoyed it as a kid.
I guess that's right. I guess because like for me, nostalgia and looking at it as a kid, yeah, Bug's Life is
Matt,
probably
where do you
probably
rank
up there.
Andre and Wally B? If I'm getting it right. Where do you rank the first Pixar
Uh,
short?
Andre and Wally B. I mean, that's got to be pretty high. I don't have a list for Pixar shorts, which I should make.
We should do
but-
it one on just the shorts. I would love to do an episode just on Pixar shorts.
Definitely, we can. And actually, talking about shorts, before this movie, there was an amazing short that was played before our eyes, and I forget what it's called. It's called Bow. Bow, or is that? I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, Bao Bao.
I think it's Bow.
Probably Bow.
I think it's Bow. And
Takes
so
place in Astoria, New York.
pretty much it probably does.
No, it takes place in Vancouver.
So
You fool.
so the story tells us it tells us about a story about when Antonio leaves his house for the first time and gets married and he becomes a little dumpling. No, but come on, didn't that melt your heart? I mean, I was not expecting that.
It was cute.
I thought it was
cute.
a first. Like, at first, I was just like, "Oh, this is just gonna be." Sorry, I hit my mic again. This is just gonna be a stupid story about some like little pork roll, whatever that is, turned to life, and it just sounded so dumb to me. And then as it went on and progressed, it was funny and cute. And then your heart just gets pulled out of you when you realize it's all about her son that's been away for a while. You really clearly haven't been speaking. Did you guys like it? I loved it.
No,
Oh, I loved it.
No, you didn't like it?
You didn't like it?
no, I liked it until the very end. It
'Cause-
confused me. I
Oh.
understood everything they were conveying until the son comes home and just sits next to his mom on the bed, and then the two of them are just weeping together. To me, it looked strange, and if you notice, they don't even hug.
Mm.
Like, in what situation like that are you not going to hug your mother?
I suppose you're right. Maybe
It's just
I would have to
it's
rewatch
such a
it
small
again.
thing, but to me, it stood out so much. Like how does that lack of intimacy get there?
I think it's because I mean I'm not anyone's I don't know the answer to this, but it's probably been a very long time since they've seen each other. It clearly was strong for the both of them, and maybe they're not there yet. Maybe food. I think food was the equivalent of that hug for them. Because in some cultures, Spanish cultures, I know this very well, and it seems like Asian cultures at that, food is very, very important, and it's a very like bonding thing. So maybe that is equivalent to the hug, is sharing that food with each other. Because they both cried, so it's clear that they missed each other, and it's clear that that intimacy is there. I don't think the hug was necessary, but I do understand where you feel that it could have been used.
Yeah, for me, it just kind of threw me off at the end.
Yeah, I was weirded out at first when they showed the shadow of the kid, and I was like, "Wait, the thing is back? She just ate it? Did she shit it out or something?" and then
I thought it was gonna end when she ate the dumpling kid, and I was like, that's dark.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I thought the same exact thing. I was like, wait, this is over? God damn it, Pixar. But then, of course, there's always has to be a meaning to these things.
Of course.
I have it up there, my top two. Again, I haven't seen all of the shorts ever, but probably my favorite. Sorry, probably my favorite Pixar short is the one where I don't know if we saw it. Did we see it with Cars 3? The one where
The toy box one?
Yes.
The kid in the playground?
Yes, that is probably my all-time favorite Pixar short. The one where like all the missing items get to come to life and bully on the bully, which is whatever, but it's cute. It's nice. What do you guys think of this bow thing?
It was nice. I liked it. Good
It was
setup.
nice. I liked it. I mean,
That's it.
Even though at the end I didn't, but overall, sure, it's nice.
Good emotional roller coaster ride.
It's a cool thing to get you started for this movie too. It gets you like not that this movie was going to be like all about the feels, but it was a good good start before you hit Incredibles 2. And then the movie starts right after, and I was not expecting. We were all told that the movie was going to take place right after the first movie, but I didn't expect how right after. I mean, the way they introduced the whole. Oh God, I'm blanking here for a second. Oh, the fact that her mask came off. What's her name? Violet.
Yes.
Yeah, Violet. Yeah.
The fact that her mask came off and that she ruined it. Well, no, it starts with the boy being interrogated, right? That's
Yes.
the opening scene. Yeah, so it starts with that, and it's like that whole idea is just really cool to me. I wasn't expecting that. Very, very smart for Pixar to start that way. But what do you guys think? Did you think the opening made sense? Did it work?
I think it did. I mean, I was so surprised that they literally picked up, from the first film, like I believe 1 second later. But I think that was definitely it made it interesting. I feel like if they just literally started at the last moment when the Underminer like pops out, I feel like that would have been just too jarring. But it starts on a slow pace. It kind of sets the mood, and then it goes boom. So it's kind of unexpected, so to say.
Like I said, I just think this movie, top to bottom, blows away the first one. And yeah, like Mike said, it starts out calm, and it sort of brings you back to that whole concept of superheroes being in hiding, the whole FBI-ish people trying
shadowy
to wipe
government
people's
things.
memories, like Men in Black. And then you go straight from that to an action scene. You can't really do much better than that.
Yeah, and it fits the world that it's set in, like you just said. The whole. I mean, I know it's not based entirely on our lives and our real world timing, but it's based in the 50s, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
50s, 60s, kind of. For
And
the
so-
early 60s.
Yeah,
feel.
and so like
It's
stuff
like
like that.
1950s. If you notice in the when people there's shots of random citizens watching the news broadcasts throughout the show, they're watching in shop windows, which
Right.
none of us have ever experienced that in our
No.
lives. And if you notice in the background where all those TVs are, it says there's a sign that says color. This new thing, color TV.
Wow, I didn't pick up on that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's really funny, especially given the screenslaver's monologue about how we're all slaves to screens. It takes place technically sort of in the reality of the film in the 50s, but it still holds true today. Even more
Absolutely.
so because
good
we
point.
have
That's a
more
good point.
we have more screens all around us.
No, it's good. Yeah, you're right. I feel like that's what threw me off for a second. That's why it's kind of like an alternate like 50s reality because it's
Yeah, exactly.
so futuristic.
It's like
but then-
Fallout.
yeah. It's so futuristic. Like that train that we'll get to it in a bit, but like that train that she has to go save. It's so futuristic, and yet it's in the 1950s. And so
The
it's-
term is retro. It's a retro futurist art style. Very like exaggerated retro futurism. The Incredibles.
I've never heard that, but
That's
that is
the term. Yeah, it's the pretty
Sounds
much.
pretty
what the-
smart, so I'll believe it.
All right, but pretty much what it means, it's the future, but as imagined in the past. So
Oh,
it's the 50s
right.
idea of an ideal future.
Okay.
So like the Jetsons. Like the Jetsons is like retro futurist. That's like 50s, 60s ideal of
I
like.
didn't know there was a
200
term
years
for
from
that.
now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that that feel that you get when you watch the movie. So the mole guy, what do they call him?
Underminer.
Underminer. I just call him the mole. I feel like that's such a better name.
You can call him John Ratzenberger.
Oh, cheers, right? Yeah.
Who I thought was like 110 years old, but apparently not.
He's only like 71 or something. Or
surprised.
77. Like he's not that old. But yeah, he again another gentleman that is in every single Pixar movie. Probably most notably as the pig from Toy Story. But
Ham.
Ham, right? The dude, I'm bad with names. Okay,
Ham.
so
No, that's all right. I'm just hopping on your shoulders.
Pixar experts helping us out here.
Oh, I would like
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like that, right? So the guy John Ratzenberger plays the Underminer, and again he escapes, never to be seen again. And it leaves you to begs the question, like, is he going to be the beginning of the third Incredibles movie?
I'll admit, I was a
Down
little
the
disappointed they
line.
didn't catch him. I mean, I was like, I thought they would catch him, and then it would be like, he's gone, and then the real villain appears, as in a lot of movies do that. But it was weird. He's there, great action scene, and then he's just gone. He gets away, and that's it. Boom. He's never mentioned ever again.
Right, and then it leads right to the whole like superheroes are they're banished. I mean illegal, and we need to find a way to somehow keep them under wraps. And then there's another group that wants to make them legal, and because they're necessary and they're needed. And I mean we've seen this probably a million times in other movies, but it works so well, I guess, in this movie that you don't really think about the whole cliche aspect. I mean, unless you did, but like I wasn't like homping on it. Like I wasn't
Not until
thinking
after
about
the
it.
fact.
Right. Well, yeah, and then after the fact, you get that reveal later. Then you're like, okay, I could have saw that a million miles away. But like,
If I could put on my Brad Bird hat for just a second, I think the Underminer, what he would say is the Underminer was sort of, they didn't want to give him more importance in this movie because
Is he a jobber?
in both, he is really just a means to an end to bring the story to a certain place.
Good
in the
point.
first movie, he brings it to the very end, and in this one, he brings the Incredible family to their second movie plot.
Mm. Is he a jobber, Matt? Pretty much. In wrestling
Yes,
world,
he's
yeah.
there to make them look strong, to use wrestling terms.
Is he the Zack Ryder of the Pixar universe?
I mean, he's probably not as disrespected as Zack Ryder, but
Oh my god.
but yeah, back to enough about the Underminer. Let's talk about the actual movie.
Yeah, go into it,
course.
I
man.
thought it
I
was
want
so
you to go into
cool.
it.
Elastigirl comes out with her new costumes and they take a shot at DC movies. She's like, "I'm not all dark and angsty. What is this?"
Oh my god, I did not pick that up.
I
When
didn't
the hell
catch
did
that
she
either.
say that?
Wow.
When did
Well,
she say
yeah,
that?
it's there.
But you didn't see the A113 at the end.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny?
I love how you
I
pick up.
noticed something that you guys should have, and vice versa.
That's
Yeah.
so weird. So do you? I mean, I mean, I don't want to get into the political side of it because I know I've heard. I don't know if you were hearing this, Matt, but I heard some people going, "Oh, wow, this," because we live in a time that God forbid a woman could be in a leading role, right? And people were like, "Oh, wow, this movie's gonna be focused around the mom. Who cares? I don't want to see that." And I feel like that's so stupid. And they're like Disney once again catering to the females, and it's like. If it works, it works, right? So, like,
Right. I mean, first of all, I would not say for a second that the fact that she's a woman did not factor into the decision. Somewhere along the way, even if it wasn't spoken out loud so it could be recorded for the record, somebody had the thought. Brad Bird, the writers,
John
whoever. Okay, we're going to have a strong woman character.
Fine,
That
yeah.
thought had to cross their mind. Same thing with
course.
Cars 3 ending with Cruz Ramirez. Same thing with Finding Dory, Dory getting her own movie. Same thing with Toy Story 3, the toys being passed on to Bonnie. It goes into the decision, and you don't really like to say that, but sure, it's still a great movie, though.
But the thing is, like, who cares? Because it's like, there's a million movies where the males are the focal point. Let there be at least a few, if you can, that a female could have some fun with it and relate to the franchise. But I only bring that up because I was hearing it wasn't like a big thing heading into this movie. It wasn't like Star Wars where it was like, oh my God, God forbid, Rey is like so strong and powerful, but yet they forget that Luke was the same thing when he came in. But it wasn't that powerful and that like strong of a sentiment from people, but you still heard it. And I feel like that's so unnecessary and it's disgusting to even have that conversation.
Totally,
of
it's totally unnecessary.
why is it important?
The goal here is to, in any walk of life, in any movie, no matter what the person's skin color or gender is, you look at them for what they are, not for who they are,
And also,
as far as factors that are not under their control.
And also,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but another thing people forget is like Disney and every other single movie studio out there is in the world of profit making. They want to make money, and who's a big focal point and has a lot of money? Women. Women have a lot of money, just like men have a lot of money. So hit that tier of people. Get their money, it's just that's all it's about. It's all about money making. And if you could tap into another revenue source, then why not?
Just tap that, yeah.
Wow, Matt, we're trying to be politically correct. No, I'm just kidding. We're just trying to be nice people, and it's just it sickens me. It sickens me because
Hey, the
again,
bottom line is, if you want all this to stop talking about it. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah,
You have to
maybe you're
stop
right.
mentioning it.
Maybe you're right. No, of course.
Elastigirl is a great character.
She's just a good
because
character.
She's a great
That's it.
character.
Yeah, it's not because she has a nice body.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. It has everything.
Nothing to do with the fact that she's thick AF.
Maybe a little.
Someone's
for some
gonna go
people.
there.
Maybe a little for some people. But yeah, so I just wanted to get that off my chest. Just like other things that I always have issues
I
with.
think it was totally cool. They reversed. I would say reversed the traditional gender stereotype. She was the one in the movie kind of kicking most of the ass.
And they play along
while
with that
Mr.
too in the
Incredible
movie.
stays home. He's taking care of the kids, and he barely can keep himself afloat. And you see kind of his struggles, which is pretty interesting because you got the male character. He's supposed to be all Mr. Macho and tough and not show any weakness or emotion. And then you see in the movie how he's struggling while she's out, and he's pretty much depressed that he can't be out kicking ass as a superhero and he's stuck home and he doesn't know if he's a good father or not. And Violet hates him because he had the guy she liked from school had his memory wiped. So I think they played pretty good. I don't think it was too cliche. Now they weren't saying that men are powerless, women rah rah, but it's more like they try to put like a more human side to the characters, and I really liked that they kind of did. And they did it very well.
That's
Well,
right.
I think Mr. Incredible's point of view was very cliche, but then reality hit him in the face, and that's sort of maybe one of the lesser lessons of the movie. By the way, great acting from Craig T. Nelson when Mr. Incredible is so stressed out and tired. He's going insane trying to take care of his kids.
Yeah.
He's like, I eat thunder and crap lightning, baby. We're rolling with the punches.
Matt is always, what's you crack me up every time because you love when you watch these movies. You seem to hit on the great quotes, and you always seem to remember these fucking things that no one else remembers. Because I do not remember him saying that
profanity in a
Don't
Pixar
remember that?
movie.
That was one of his funniest lines to
Was
me.
that a line?
Yes,
Even
that was
Mike
the
doesn't
line.
remember.
I swear I heard.
By the way,
heard
first
crap at some
Pixar
point.
movie on 2 separate occasions to use the word crap.
I do not recall.
Before
Hearing
this, the worst language you ever heard in a Pixar movie was in Cars when Lightning McQueen said, "I'm stuck in hillbilly hell."
Wow,
Wow.
I do not remember him saying
Sick.
crap in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Evelyn says it to Elastigirl at one point, and Mr. Incredible said it himself in the quote I just said.
I mean, I think the closest they ever got to cursing was when Finding Nemo, and they're like, "I touched the butt."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Before that, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
That's about as worse as they ever
Right.
got.
Yeah,
So,
no,
like,
yeah.
Until now.
This title definitely goes to the top of being the most adult Pixar movie.
Wow.
And like in that same conversation where I said Evelyn said crap, the whole back and forth between her and Elastigirl was just moving so fast, and it was like there was a lot of context you had to put into it yourself, and I felt it was just so adult. Like even us at 22 years old trying to keep track of it, we're able to, and I'm thinking if I'm 10, this is a little bit hard for me to understand. So by far, I think this one surpasses Up for its emotional stress, Monsters Inc. for its working world problems, for the most adult Pixar movie.
So where would
By
you?
far.
Where would you? Since you just categorize like Monster Inc. Monsters Inc. as like a working man struggle, go communism. Where would you? Where would you categorize this movie? Like, what would you call this movie? Like, what genre do you think it falls under?
Genre.
Like
I mean, action. Sure.
right, but nothing like specific. Nothing like a.
Like what?
I don't know, but you just said like the whole theme. What's the theme of this movie? Like, because like you just said, the theme of like Monsters Inc. is like a working man's struggle.
Right.
So what would you fall? Where would you put Incredibles 2?
That's I
Family?
would say the most family and being able to adapt to do what you got to do to take care of your family. I think is a big one. There's also the whole legal thing. Body cameras and the argument that Helen and Bob have at the table in the motel about, should you respect a law just because it's a law, or if the law is disrespectful, should you disrespect the law and try to change it?
Yeah.
I think those two are the big ones there. I don't know if I can choose one over the other, but bigger than that, I feel like the struggles in this movie are so unique to this movie and this movie alone. You can't just put a skin over it with different characters and have the same plot.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
agree.
I mean,
I
I
agree.
think you can get away with this movie like if you put on like it's kind of like an Avengers Civil War in the.
It's very subtle.
in that regard. I feel like you could have done this with some of the Avengers. I mean, you've seen it. It is that plot of Civil War. Like, do we get arrested for doing what's right? Matt, would you agree with me on that? I was more or less talking about how like, do we do what's right regardless if it's legal or not? And so it's kind of like more or less the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Given that, my first thought would be, no, it's not like Civil War, because you sort of are following one entity's story, and that's the Incredibles family. Whereas Civil War is a bunch of different stories. But yeah, given that struggle with the law, yeah, totally, and that's something I didn't even equate the two. But you're totally right.
Right, that idea is there, but yeah, it is not exactly the same thing. So again, correct me because I don't know these. I'm really bad with names. What is the gentleman's name that they meet from that tech company?
Dever.
Daver.
Oh,
Dever. Sorry, apologies.
And you guys haven't seen Breaking Bad, right? Or Better Call Saul?
No, but I know exactly what that is. I love that man. I've been listening.
Bob Odenkirk.
I've been listening to Bob for years. He used to be a regular on a podcast that I listened to, and I've seen him live too. So he's a funny guy. He's actually he's also from this old comedy duo that they used to have a show back on HBO back in the day. So he's great, and I just love hearing his voice. There's something about his voice that makes me excited and happy. I don't know why.
He has like a salesman's learns to his character in Breaking Bad. He has that very like energetic, like very charismatic sounding voice.
Yeah, and also his character in this movie too. Like it works perfectly. Like
yeah, he's a businessman. I turned to Peter during the movie and I asked, "Is that Jeremy Piven?" Because he totally, to me, sounded like Lightning McQueen's agent Harv in Cars, who was the epitome of just the fast talking, idiot guy. But he's a fast talker who can sell you anything.
And nothing against Jeremy Piven, but he is the quintessential idiot guy. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I cannot stand looking at that man's face. There's something about it. I don't know.
Oh. What did I dig up here?
Again, I'm sorry. It's just something, and when I see him, I just never want to watch Entourage.
Also the FBI guy, the guy in the beginning that wipes the kid's memory. He's also in Breaking Bad too. I forget his name. The actor's name. Dicker, yeah.
The actor.
I forget. Do you know the actor's name?
Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan Banks. There we go. Yeah, that's him.
The whole time he looks like Tommy Lee Jones. Like
the character.
Oh
like
wow,
Richard
that's
Nixon. The character reminded me of Nixon.
You're right.
He reminded me of Nixon.
Right. I'm sure they modeled him after that. For the whole Men in Black feel, like I mentioned.
Or like he also I also was getting like a weird Lou Reed vibe.
He looked like Nixon to me, I swear. I thought
that's kind of weird. Like if Nixon got to that age, if he ever got to that age, he might have looked like. I don't think he looked like Nixon really at all.
No. Look like Nixon to me.
Weird.
Maybe let's talk about my favorite sequence of the movie.
Yeah.
Which was when Elastigirl was trying to save the ambassador in those helicopters.
Oh my god.
That was downright suspenseful.
Yeah,
More
some good action
than
there.
Any other sequence, probably in any Pixar movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that coupled with the scene after that, with when she enters the apartment building and fights the stand-in screenslaver guy, who turned out to be just an innocent pizza delivery guy.
Right.
That's those two sequences. I was almost scared. There was a point where it was very quiet and she was searching the apartment and a clock went off, and that I jumped a little bit. It gave me a little bit of a
that was scary.
feel.
I'll admit. Like, do you remember when once he actually goes up behind her, then all those lights started appearing?
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, my eyes actually hurt. I was like, this is a freaky ass scene.
That overwhelms you in every way. Visually, your heart's racing already because you know this guy's there somewhere, and then the two of them are beating the hell out of each other. It's an incredible fight scene, and he actually, when they were in that room with all those with those lights going, he really got the best of her, and that sort of makes you nervous too.
Definitely, that scene was. I think most of the action scenes in this movie were like really, really good for an animated movie. I was like, damn, this is violent for
to
Pixar.
the next level.
Yeah,
there's no level of violence in other Pixar movies like this.
Yeah, what is probably the most violent?
Well, you guys
Toy
haven't
Story
seen Cars 2. Cars 2 is pretty violent.
Oh yeah, that tortures.
They torture and kill a guy in Cars 2. Peter, that's why you should watch.
Car? They kill a car?
Yes, they torture him and kill him.
Do they let his oil leak out?
Well, you gotta watch it to find out.
Spoilers. Uh, I would have to agree with you that the scene with the helicopters made me really excited. I loved each time that the ambassador was just like, just trust this woman. She knows what she's doing. Because all the guards thought that maybe Elastigirl being an illegal superhero was probably evil. So that was really cool seeing just like little moments like that, like the realism of just being like, no. I trust her. Let her do what she has to do. Nice little Hillary Clinton look-alike. I like that. That was cute. Like,
Totally.
or I was also getting a little Merkel vibe. Little Merkel vibe. The Chancellor of Germany. But I don't know. It just worked for me too. That weird scene though at that apartment building. I didn't know where it was gonna go because at first I thought it was a trap. I mean, it is. It more or less was a trap, but. I agree with you that it was so fun, but like you said to me in the movie theater, I wish we got more of it. But in the circumstance of the movie, it did make sense why it was so short and so fast and easy for her to get the captive. But it worked out a lot. I was a little weirded out that Disney didn't give anybody a warning that was going to happen. Because, usually when it comes to people with seizures, you kind of want to let them know.
True. I was like, no seizure warning on this one.
You kind of want to let them know, because that was a lot of lights. I was not expecting that many lights.
Definitely.
So yeah. But it was cool. Like, I was not expecting a cool scene in that apartment. I just thought it was going to be like, he was just going to grab her and then capture her. But it was, the opposite occurred. She kicked his ass in that box. Now, question, if that was real... would you want to be in that room? Like, because I feel like I would go insane if I was in a room of lights like that.
Well, I mean, it would hypnotize you if you were any sort of civilian lesser man. I mean, apparently that's what those screens did to everybody. So I would not want to be in that room.
Unless you're like a rave head.
Right, yeah.
Music, though.
You're high on like some ecstasy or some sort
of... you'd like it then.
I don't know.
For the ordinary man, I would say not. That would definitely be blinding. I was like kind of a weird villain. Obviously, the whole screensaver was kind of just a front villain for the lady. But I was like, this is kind of a lame villain. I mean, it's kind of cool with the whole hypnotize goggles, but I'm like, this is some like lame character design. And then I'm like, okay, once they realize that he's just really a bullshit villain, and she's really the villain. He's just kind of a symbol for which she kind of rallies her movement around. I was like, all right, this is cool. But I kind of found it weird though, like the villain is the sister. That was just like, At first I thought that was like his muse or girlfriend. Was it Danvers, you said?
Yeah.
But I know early in the movie they say, oh, it's just his sister. But she kind of has like sinister vibe. You kind of get it from the beginning when you first see her in the movie. So I was like, something's got to be up. I thought Danvers was going to be the villain, though.
But please,
I really thought he was going to be the villain.
I'm so happy that both of them weren't the villain. That makes me so happy because I would have been so annoyed if both wound up being the bad guys. And I don't know.
Who do you mean both?
The brother and the sister. Like, I'm so glad it was just her, and not.
Yeah, and it adds a whole other layer of complexity to it, and it makes him look like more of an idiot. It plays into it because Evelyn's whole story was he's stuck in the past. He's being a child, and he somehow gives so much more importance to everything that he's done to that point and will do in the movie.
Right, and then he somehow thinks that if he brings superheroes back, he'll bring mom and dad back, which is a sentiment
it's a totally irrational thing, and it's similar to a lot of irrational things that all of us struggle with.
Yeah, and it worked nicely. Yeah, and it's something like, you're right. A lot of people think that way, and it's sad and disappointing that people have to think that way, but some people resort to that. I want to talk a little bit about, because we jumped a bit, but I want to talk a little bit about when they get to that house for the first time, and when they get to that mansion that he allows them, one of his houses he rents out to the Incredibles. I think that was a great scene of them just figuring out what everything is in that house and working with it and finding out that like there's water streams in the apartment and in the house and how like he just ruins all Jack just ruins all, not Jack,
the boy.
Oh my God, what is his name?
Dash
ruins all the furniture like in 10 seconds. It's just cute and it's just funny and adorable for me.
It's nice Pixar. It's like light
Yeah,
comedy.
it's-
They're very good with their light comedy. Like, it's not too juvenile. It's like anyone of any age can enjoy it. It's not like mature humor. It's not juvenile humor. It's right in the middle.
Yeah. Okay, it would have been also funny if like Mr. Incredible did it too. Like the whole idea of like a clueless like old man just not sure how to use
Do you remember
technology.
the original teaser for The Incredibles way back when he tries to put on his pants and he's like trying to fit mess with his belt buckle?
Yeah.
And he shoot. He's like, the whole thing is just him trying to get his belt buckle on. Once he gets on, it explodes. Like takes the light out.
Is this for this movie or the original?
No, the first one.
First one.
It was a teaser. It's like 2002 maybe it came out.
I don't remember that.
It was a teaser. Yeah, I loved. I still remember that. It was like so. I found that as a kid. Like it was the funniest thing ever.
I totally gotta watch that. Yeah, but like, and then of course finding out about Jack and finding us little by little finding out the powers that he has. I mean, we had that tease in the original movie at the end of him using a power, but then not realizing that he has all these other ones.
She's like array of powers.
This kid is a mutant. This kid is insane. He is packed. He's got what? They said 17 at least different abilities. That's the number that they hit in the movie.
Yeah, it might not be an exact number. He just said at the end.
True.
Oh, you didn't just miss his first power. You missed his first 17.
That's true.
Yeah, array of powers.
But I think if you were to count, you might actually hit that number.
Maybe.
They probably have more to show us down the line. What's your favorite one of his? I think that my favorite is probably the one where he becomes like goo, like a bubbly goo, like substance kind of thing. I just love that one. They don't show it a lot, but they showed it enough. What's your favorite Jack power?
The one when he comes like big. He just does it once. He's in the ship and he just gets like really large all of a sudden, and he just like busts the hull. I don't know. I just found it like so funny, and he's just kind of rolling around.
Mm-hmm.
Then every time like he goes on fire, he has the soap suds that come out.
Yeah,
the
flaming
flame
baby
retardant,
Jack is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
I think the funniest thing he did in the movie though was something you don't even see. That Bob is so concerned and he just wants him to go to bed that he puts a table upside down over his crib.
Yes.
And he somehow gets out of that too.
Yes.
He just warped out of it because he has the teleportation power too. He's invisible. He can kind of
He goes
go
into
through
the
dimensions.
fourth dimension. That's crazy. It's bizarre. It's weird that they know that there's a different dimension, which kind of like, again, if you want to get into that weird Pixar theory, you could go further into that. But
What are you gonna say? He was traveling in the monster world, or
right? You don't know, or maybe like that could give people leeway to go. Well,
He works for the X-Men.
Yeah, if they ever get the Fox rights, they can mix that in there. But no, like it could be like, well, Toy Story happens in this dimension. It's not the same as that dimension, so it could just ruin the Pixar theory for some people. The fact that there's different dimensions out there. The cool thing about I like the way that they introduced his powers and everyone slowly finding out that he has them. It wasn't like, Jack has powers, here we go. And it was just really cool how like each family member found out how, like the unique ways that they found out. I think that was really
I feel
clever.
like it was so known for all of us that he had powers.
Yeah.
It was almost a little weird finding out that the family didn't know yet.
Yeah. But I mean, it was understandable that they didn't know because again, the movie literally starts from the last one. And so the kid is literally like, what, a year, not even a year old, if anything. So he hasn't had a chance to, show them. Now is his time that he's like, coming out of his shell, I suppose. And then, so, I mean, it makes sense that they wouldn't know.
It's just weird because, I knew so well given that short film with him and the babysitter, and he does all sorts of wacky things too. So it's just you almost forget that the rest of the family didn't know.
Oh, there's a short film where he's doing that? I never
Yeah,
seen that.
yeah. In the first movie, you hear the babysitter. I'm forgetting her name, but she's on the phone with Helen, and she goes, Mrs. Parr, something's up with Jack. And they expand on that in this short film, which was released with the DVD, I think. And so, yeah, in this short film, it's just 3 or 4 minutes of Jack driving the girl crazy with all his
Remember that.
lasers and fire.
I have the DVD. I got to check it out. I've like I said, I've watched
It's called Jack Jack Attack.
I'm so forgetful
I
that
remember that.
I've probably seen it.
It's the ones I watched. I think I've seen it once. I'm
Interesting.
sure it's on YouTube even. You can probably watch it on YouTube.
So probably Jack's best performance in this movie goes with the raccoon. I mean,
That fight?
That was so freaking like, I guess you could say it was unnecessary, but it was so funny to see. Like, out of all creatures or animals, he's gonna fight with a raccoon. I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. You need that to break up Elastigirl's parts of the movie.
It killed like the seriousness. That was its point. It's like it shows off his powers without being too serious.
But also
battling with the raccoon.
Also, like the whole reason behind why he attacked him is genius. Did you remember it?
Yeah, because the raccoon looked like the robber in that old,
Yes.
once again, like very 1950s programming, black and white movie, whatever was on the TV. Yeah,
It just worked. That worked so well. Like if they didn't put that, I wouldn't have cared. But like little thoughts like that they thought about something like that, really adds to that levity of
The world
storytelling.
building was really good.
Yeah.
Like that world build, like you said, that whole retro futuristic 1950s world where everything is so like relatable and familiar to our own popular culture, plus with modern themes, but at the same time it's so like fantastical with all these superheroes and exaggerated art styles and stuff like the helicopters and the futuristic monorail train. It's just so like it's fun and fantastic. It's very like believable. Like it's like you can immerse yourself in the world, but at the same time,
incredible.
so yeah. To use a pun, incredible.
So at the end of the movie, we get to this whole, the whole idea of let's get all these world leaders on a boat so we could sign this pact of legalizing superheroes again, and let's get some superheroes on the boat as well, and then it just, of course, total chaos ensues. Where do you put that on, like? Because, like, Antonio, wow. Matt, you had said that the first Incredibles fell flat towards past the beginning of the movie. Like, the middle you said didn't work out, and the ending didn't work out for you. Do you feel like this movie kind of redeems that for you because of what we saw on screen?
Yeah, totally. And, I mean, the ending of the first one was good. I enjoyed it. But to use your words, fall flat, yeah, it was definitely the middle that fell flat for me. But no, it's not like it was a terrible movie even throughout the end. It was a solid, cohesive story. And I liked this one too because, again, you get back to the political part of it, which is like so not shielding children in a children's movie from the reality of the world, which is, a little bit unprecedented given that it's an animated movie that the same studio also made, Finding Dory, Cars 2. So, given all of that, I thought it was cool that, again, you had a villain that it's not his... It wasn't her mission to, I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to...
Oh, thank God.
And that's it, really. She had a very specific plan. She was just disgruntled by supers, and she wanted to get rid of them.
And it's also like her way of... It's very brother-sister type of relationship of, I want to shut my brother up, and it's slightly innocent too, because I think if she could do it behind closed doors and shut him up, she would have done that. But the fact that you could bring it into the real world and make it a grand scheme fight, then it makes it more interesting. But like, it's totally something that she could have just been like, listen, dude, just stop. Mom and dad are never going to come back. Doing this doesn't help. Like, she could have just easily had a conversation with him, maybe. But she's like, well, I could go about it this way, too, and just ruin everybody else's life.
Yeah. I think they're getting better at doing. I think a lot of movies in general these days, even like to go back to the Avengers, they're getting better at doing villains that aren't so like cliche. I want to take over the world and kill everyone. They're trying to create villains that have specific motives, and kind of, even though it's misguided or totally incorrect, at least have a goal that you can at least kind of like sympathize with in a sense.
I mean, except for Thanos, because you can't really go around that. I mean, his whole premise is to take over the world.
Well, what Thanos is trying to do is pretty much stop the world from being overpopulated and destroying itself because there's too many people. So yeah, it's a fucked up goal, but it's still a goal that like realistically makes sense, even though it's horrible.
No, yeah, they changed it up in that movie a bit more, but like his actual goal is just to do it. But But yeah, in this movie, I don't know. I feel like that ending sequences, the whole third act is really cool. I like the wannabe supers. Those
were funny. Those guys.
Those guys are just hilarious. And
I love the crush guy. The line about the uncrush. Nobody has to uncrush things.
Yeah. Well, what if I tell you to unpunch someone? What you do?
That's a wow. That's a good impersonation.
Impersonation.
My favorite was probably the girl that could, like power wise. I think my favorite was the girl that could.
Portal girl.
The portal one.
Oh yeah, the portal.
Her name is Void.
Void. So simple, and yet I can't remember. Remind me to never ever do a podcast ever again, unless I know how to. It's just why usually when we do a show, right? I didn't have any preparation for the show. Clearly, you guys could tell that by listening to this.
Some host.
But usually, I have a list, printout of the actors' names and the characters they play. I have a list out of story ideas and discussions we should go into. This one we just started, and so I fully apologize. Usually, I have the names down and ready, but not today. So anyway, yeah.
That's great, letting all the listeners know how little you care about them.
Exactly.
You know what it is?
Fuck's given.
Because I thought Matt was going to be more prepared. Because again, going back to that whole Finding Dory episode, Matt came in
Have
with
I not been prepared?
Matt came with
He didn't
5
even get the right
pages.
tickets. How can Saints get prepared?
Yeah, Matt, didn't you come with like 5 or 6 pages of like Pixar nonsense when we did that? Dory episode?
A lot of nonsense for the Finding Dory episode.
Well, I only say
Never
nonsense
aired.
because it was never aired because But so yeah, the movie Incredibles 2. Wow, I need to sleep. The ending and the climaxes, it works for me. I feel like it's a solid ending. It's very I don't think it's memorable by any stretch.
Pixar-esque.
But it's very
family reconciles and everyone's happy and it's happy ever after and it's cute.
Yeah. I will say though, it sounds like I didn't like this movie, but I love this movie. I don't know if you guys saw the Facebook post we put up, but it's definitely not a Cars 3 situation where.
Excuse me?
I think that's exactly the comment you left too.
It was.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is,
I mean, it kind of is like a Cars 2 situation. Think about the plot. Lightning's getting old. What are the old generation of racers good for anymore? And then supers are getting old. Does the world need superheroes anymore? The old generation of superheroes. Is there a new generation of heroes that can save the world? So kind of is a Cars 3 situation when you think about it. Do you agree, Matt?
Well, I think Peter meant in terms of just
Quality.
How good the movie
Yeah,
was.
I know. I'm just playing.
But I agree with you, Mike. I'm just playing. I agree with you, Mike, in that they do have their parallels. They have their similarities in that regard. But I wouldn't say that Incredibles is discussing like where do superheroes fit in with age. It's clear the question is where do they fit in at all.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of the question, because it's clear that at the end of this movie that the family is still strong enough and viable to go on. Jack is nowhere near the age, or Dash is nowhere near the age to just go on their own and fight crimes. So I feel like I get what you're saying, but I think it's more about like where do just supers just fit in regard. Also, I love how they just call them supers and not superheroes. That's a cool twist, very simple twist. The name just change. But it works in their world a lot better than just calling them
supers. I like that. Yeah,
supers just is so much better of a term to use. So that's cool too. But Matt,
they don't have a term in the Avengers, do they? Do they use a term in the Avengers for
they call them mutants enhancements or enhances or enhanced, whatever they're called.
It's enhanced persons. Yeah. That's what Vision calls them. Yeah,
but I don't know what they actually called superheroes. Can't even think of that. But I was going to ask Matt, this movie, as you said, it probably ranks up number 6 now for you in the Pixar list that you have. Do you think that is there anything this movie could have done for you that would have really knocked it down to a very low peg?
That's a tough question.
Because like they could
to imagine how it could be worse.
Oh my God! You made it sound like it's like a piece of
No, I
trash.
mean that's a very tough question. I mean, do you have anything in mind that
Yeah.
you so go ahead.
Well, I
Lay it
hinted,
on
I
me.
hinted on it before. One, making both brother and sister the villain would have really made me go, I'm
Right,
not so
right.
interested in
Okay.
that. And then also, I think maybe could have made the movie better. I don't know, but or worse, the idea of the screen slaver, having him be the main bad, of course, changing his backstory
Actually,
from
yeah,
being the
you know,
pizza
I
guy.
was sort of we're so far uh, behind the fourth wall now as fans and as people who analyze them on podcasts like we are right now, and
Right.
everyone listening to it right now, you guys are probably in the same mindset. I kind of knew as soon as I saw the Devers, I'm like, look, something's up with them because
Of course, yeah.
there
They're
were
too
very
perfect.
very short shots where they would sort of take a look at Elastigirl and she would look back at them.
Right.
There would be at the very tail end of another shot, the two would look at each other. So I totally knew something was up with them. But then when the whole screenslaver thing was introduced, I was actually a little bit relieved. I thought, wow, it's a little bit more of a straightforward villain. Because I think, I don't know, at least in my mind, it's gone so far the other way. And granted, there's a lot of movies, there's a lot of superhero movies that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But I feel like having a straightforward villain was almost, it kind of made me relieved. So then when it was revealed that it was sort of a double cross, you know, I was still shocked. I was like, whoa, that's a big moment in the movie. That's crazy. But at the same time, I was thinking, it also, at this point, it would have been cool if it was also just a straightforward villain, like I said.
Yeah, I think that, again, I'm not knocking them for doing what they did. I do prefer having it the way it was made, but I am interested of where they could have went with just having that villain as the
Yeah.
the
And that
main.
sort of leads me to my point about the actual climax of the film. To me, her battle with the fake screenslaver in the apartment was so cool and so suspenseful.
Yeah, well, that
I
was
feel
a
like
great
that
scene.
that could have been an amazing climax. Whereas the actual climax was just sort of a mirror of the beginning.
Mhm.
You know, you had this big vehicle trying to just headed on a collision course
the
for
drill.
people
Oh yeah.
and buildings,
monorail.
and you have them save it. You have Frozone stop it with his ice, which I thought was a little weird that they kind of did the same exact thing at the beginning and end. So
Yeah.
I really,
I didn't
for
think
me,
about that.
the height of the movie was that battle in the apartment. So I thought that could have been a great way to go.
You know what? Kind of not off topic, but right now I'm reading on Reddit, and most of the topics are about the fight scene, and just because the lights and the epileptic lights, there's
Yeah.
like epilepsy
Totally.
warning. This freaking scene will cause you to seize. They're like, why hasn't Disney done anything? Why is there no warnings in movie theaters about this scene?
It's a
Because my
solid
eyes did
point.
hurt. My eyes
That's
did
a
hurt.
solid
I love the
point.
scene, but my eyes did hurt a little bit. I was like, whoa, that's jarring.
And so much for Disney being a family-friendly company.
I know, right?
But
I know,
but God damn it, Disney. But no, going back to the whole Frozone thing. First off, I think he was underutilized in this movie. I think you could have
He
done
was.
a
I
lot
was going to
more.
say that. Like, I want to see more Frozone.
You could have done a lot more with Samuel L. Jackson. Come on, he's a
Really?
member. Yes, I don't know
thought
what.
he was
I
so
don't-
good. I thought it was perfect.
No,
I
he
thought
was.
one of his best moments in the movie was when he was fighting off the hypnotized lesser supers who broke into
house,
the
yeah.
apartment
No,
and
that
were
was
trying
great.
to capture them. You know, he instantly recreated his bond with the Incredibile using his voice activation
Okay, so here's
to
where
get Dash and Violet in. I thought that was so
I agree.
cool.
I agree, and he was great there. I think it might be just because it's Samuel L. Jackson. I just want more of him. I don't know what it is. I just wanted more Frozone. So maybe he
man.
wasn't underutilized. Maybe he was just perfectly utilized, and I just wanted more of him just because it's a cool character, and it's just it is voiced by the great Samuel L. Jackson. So it could be just me just going, I want more of that. I don't know.
I agree. I mean, I think he was, like you said, Matt is probably right. He was utilized to the right amount, but of course, it's Samuel L. Jackson. I want as much as him in the movie as possible. If I can get his delivery is just amazing.
Listen,
the
if he-
Frozone character is amazing. You want more, but I think if it would have been too much Frozone, the movie's not Frozone.
First
But
of all,
imagine you got
Exactly.
spin-off
where-
film.
If there's too much Frozone, it becomes a Frozone movie.
no, you're right.
Just
you're right.
like if there's too much Mater, it becomes a Cars 2.
Good point.
That's
That is
a
a
good point.
good.
Because really,
Good-
like, what do
good
you know
point.
about
'Cause, like-
Frozone? You know he has his wife Honey at home, who they yell at each other from different rooms.
Who misplaces his super suit.
And also think about it: if there was more Frozone, there would almost be more Frozone than Mr. Incredible.
That is
Mm,
also true. Because I think Mrs. Incredible was probably the star. Violet and Mrs. Incredible and Jack were probably the three most important people in this film.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
also, shout out to the kid that played Dash. I work in the city, and apparently a kid from New York voiced voiced him this time around, which is really interesting. That a kid in New York City, little middle school
Sure.
kid, is voicing freaking Dash.
I mean,
That's
think about it. It's
amazing.
been 14 years since the first film. Whoever voiced him in the first movie's got to be,
Uh,
our
30.
age now.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
older.
yeah.
Or older. Yeah.
That's cool. It's just a cool little thing. But yeah, you have a good point there, Matt, with the whole it would have been a Frozone movie. I do want to see, though, a commercial of Frozone telling me about the Capital One Venture card. That would be really cool.
I'm waiting for the Frozone spinoff.
I'm sure they'll. Is there a Frozone short? I'm sure there might be, right?
I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think there is. I
Well,
think just a Jack short.
get on it, Pixar, for making us a Frozone short. So, is there anything else that you want to discuss about this movie, Matt?
Was there any how about Easter eggs? Was there any Easter egg? I didn't pick up on it. Just the one A113 at the end when it's on the playbill for the movie theater.
Yeah.
Matt, did you pick up any Easter eggs?
No, I didn't pick up any, and I was sort of expecting that because last year's release, Cars 3, so many of the Easter eggs were easy to find.
They were
And
too
so
easy.
when that happens, it's just sort of a balance. I kind of figured the next title would have some very hard to find Easter eggs, and even after watching it again, I really couldn't find anything. The most sort of thing you wouldn't notice, so to speak, that I did notice the second time was the thing I mentioned earlier about the TVs in the shop window saying now in color.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I'm always looking for a lot of Cars Easter eggs, and I feel given the whole Lassiter situation, you probably won't ever see Cars Easter eggs again.
You don't think so? Just because of him?
Yeah, unless it's an Easter egg that's like so specifically related to Brian Fee, who was the director of Cars 3.
Yeah.
What would be a John Lasseter Easter? Like, what would be a John Lasseter Easter egg that's in his name?
What do you mean by that?
Like, what would kind of relate the Easter egg to John Lasseter in Cars?
Well,
the Cars sense?
just the fact that Cars is his baby, and I feel like Cars did not reach the level of stardom that the Toy Story franchise did, because I feel like
course.
you can't really say that Toy Story is John Lasseter's baby. It's sort of it belongs to the world almost, but Cars still has not as big of an impact on the world. So you can still say that
Thank God.
Cars is definitely his thing. So given everything that's happened with him, I feel like we won't be seeing a lot of
Wait, what happened
if
to
any,
him? No, I'm just
Easter
kidding.
eggs.
I'm kidding. I was gonna say what happened.
Hey, his name's
no
still in the movie.
lifeguard on duty. Swim at your own risk.
That's a John Lasseter reference right there.
Oh yeah.
But his name is still on the billing. He's still executive producer. It's still
Well,
listed.
this was prior
because he
to
was.
what happened. Yeah.
You can't hide that.
Mike,
You
the
can't
way.
just
Yeah,
erase him from history like that. Although some companies might try to do that.
yeah, but the union guilds and all that, that you have to keep. There's rules, and if he actually was, he is supposed to be on there.
Yeah,
So.
if he was, he gets the credit, but
Yeah.
it very well might be the last thing he executive produces.
Now, in the future, if the guilds feel like they need to take that off due to certain things like they've done with Bill Cosby, then that's a whole other animal. But we're not there yet with him.
So this is John Lasseter is officially out of Pixar, right, Matt?
Yes.
As of,
So
I
he's-
guess, just a couple of hours ago, right, or days ago, I guess he is.
Yeah, like last week or.
So anyway,
or
talking
so.
about Easter eggs. If you guys want to check out a really cool Easter egg video, this guy always puts up really interesting Easter eggs montages or whatever on YouTube. Mr. Sunday Movies is a really cool guy. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. I always check. He's the go-to guy that I check out Easter eggs from. So he had just 2 hours ago. He put up an Easter eggs for Incredibles 2. So I'm sure they are packed with some cool little moments.
It has to be. And I look at the fact that the Pizza Planet truck appeared in every single Pixar title except the first Incredibles. I was really wondering if it's going to be in this one. And after seeing it twice, I didn't see it, but
I'm sure it's
I
there.
very well could have missed it.
Sure it's there.
So you should definitely check out anyone and everyone who's posted videos on that so far.
Yeah, definitely. And then so I mean
The Luxo ball too.
Yeah.
No idea where that was.
You're right. No Luxo.
probably in the bedroom, the kids' room or something, as usual, as they usually are.
Sure.
But
You never know. Sometimes they get very, very clever with it. Like I said, last year was very straightforward, so it could be pretty hard to find this year. In The Good Dinosaur, the Luxo ball actually appears in like the background when the boy and the dinosaur are like sort of have an acid trip on after they ate some sort of leaves.
Wow, I didn't see this.
So sometimes it gets very hard to find.
And
in Finding Dory, they disguised and they gave a higher pitch to John Ratzenberger's voice, so they even tried to hide that. Sometimes they get very, very. Maybe they're just bored one day and they're stuck on an aspect of the story, and all they can think of is just how to make Easter eggs harder to find.
Also, I think the pizza truck in the Good Dinosaur is like a rock, like it's carved into a stone or something, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've seen that. It's like really, really hard to see. Like you gotta like trace it with your finger.
Yeah, you have to pause it frame by frame. Do you guys have a favorite Pixar Easter egg?
No, because I don't know enough of them to really go like, ooh, there's that one. I would have to actually sit down and check them out. I'm sure there's some solid ones.
I feel like,
I think the one that I always remember though is the trailer in A Bug's Life, and then seeing that later on in a different movie, and then the pizza truck being there.
Right.
Can't remember.
Isn't the trailer where it takes place in Bug's Life is actually the room, so to speak, that Randall was banished to in Monsters Inc.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah. That's
and
a cool Easter egg.
They
That's
both
the
have
one
the Pizza Planet truck outside.
Right, that's the one that always comes to my mind. Seeing Nemo in Boo's room is another one.
Right.
That's a cool one. Being that I think.
By the way, Jessie doll was also in Boo's room.
Right. Okay.
Oh, really? Wow.
So things like that.
I have
can't really
one
think of any.
that even blew my mind when I found out about it, and it wasn't even too long ago that I found out about it. You all know that the sponsor for tires in cars for the racers is Lightyear. Obviously, reference to Goodyear and also to Buzz Lightyear.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look super closely at the tires, not just Lightyear is written on it, but it says Gamma Quad Sector 4.
The fuck is that?
That's the station where Buzz Lightyear, the character, is stationed in space.
Oh.
In the Galactic Alliance.
Oh, did you ever watch the cartoon
I'm
show?
Buzz Lightyear from Gamma Quadrant Sector 4.
I don't remember that.
And that is written on the Lightyear tires in cars.
That's disturbing because, again, if the theory is like anywhere viable, then they're making tires up in space. That's
where the theory comes from. It's all based on Easter eggs, right?
Yeah.
That's probably where the guy started it from. He had a starting point about, this is an Easter egg that connects these two movies.
Yeah. I think we have discussed this movie as much as we can, at least at this moment. So overall, I think I enjoyed the hell out of Incredibles 2. It is up there. I want to say it's probably better than the first one, but I would have to see it again maybe in a couple more times
Same.
to really feel that. Also, the whole it being a Pixar movie and Pixar being created when we were little kids, the nostalgia of feeling that first movie is so strong for me. So I don't know if it could top it, but again, I'm not going to know until I see it a couple more times. So I feel like it worked for me. I would have to give this Pixar movie. I would like to give this movie a solid. Keep hitting my mic today. My God. I would have to give this movie a solid 9 out of 10, if anything. I don't know. I'm just giving it a number right now. But Matt, what about you? How do you feel about this movie? Where do you rate it? And then we'll go to Mike.
I don't know, man. I've been raving about it, and like I said, it blows me out of the water. It blows the first movie out of the water. Let's give it a 9.7.
Damn. Damn.
I mean, I really enjoyed it.
So that means
Even in addition to the fact that it's a good movie, solid story, I enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it, and I think that should go into your rating.
that's solid. I really want to delve into that later on if we could ever do Pixar list of yours that we were discussing before. But
Yeah, like I said, like you
crazy.
have to walk that line between thinking how good of a movie is it and how much did I enjoy it. For me, Finding Nemo is my number 3 on my Pixar list. But objectively speaking, I think that is the best Pixar movie.
Interesting.
But it's number 3 on my list.
Interesting. Michael, what about you, man?
I would say definitely solid 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
I just loved it. Great movie. It was just fun, emotional. And I think it definitely, I haven't seen The Incredibles in so many years, the original. I loved the original Incredibles. So that was probably my favorite Pixar movie. So I can Find Nemo and Toy Story. And I was just kind of like blown away. I was like, this is really good. Action's really good. It's funny. It didn't drag. It was enjoyable. It's like one of those movies, you could be 10 and like it, you can be 20 and like it, you could be 40 and you could enjoy it. And I think it just did a really great well of kind of doing just a really good family movie.
Ditto, man. I completely agree. Actually, you said it better than I could have said it. I have to agree with that. Everyone could enjoy this movie. It is come on, it's a Pixar movie. Pixar movies, in my opinion, they make them for the adults and they have kid flavor in it. And so,
Exactly.
I feel like this movie is perfect for anyone the age of 1 to 101.
Well said.
Yeah, there we go, guys. All right, so it's been Facts Not Included, the podcast, guys. As always, if you're listening to us on YouTube, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe up there. If you're listening to us on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Podbean, whatever it is, make sure you follow, like, whatever it is that the button says, go and do it. Also, hit us up on Facebook, message us on there, hit us up on Twitter. We're always tweeting out some weird, cool things. And if you ever want to email us, we always have some cool things coming out. You can always email us at factsnotincluded@gmail.com. I have some cool giveaways really soon, so if you guys want them, you could always just email us, like I said, or DM us on Twitter. And I don't know what else to say. Just make sure that you're telling everybody about Facts Not Included. And Matt, being that you were on and being that you do have your own little thing going on, why don't you tell the people again all about it?
You guys, I don't care if you're a wrestling fan or not, you're going to follow me on Twitter at WWE Meme. Like, I'm funny, dude, and I Photoshop and video edit really funny things, whether you like it or not.
He's really
I'll
he's
see you
really
guys
good at
next
what he
year
does.
for Toy Story 4.
Yes, you will, and you're also going to see him very soon,
Matt,
hopefully.
let's get a plug. Let's get a WWE meme plug for this podcast.
I just did.
No, I mean a Twitter plug.
He just did it.
No, I mean Twitter.
Oh, you want
Twitter.
me to retweet you?
Yes.
Oh,
retweet.
yeah.
I don't use Twitter, so.
Oh, I
That's
see.
fine.
I see.
Maybe. All right. If you guys, Peter, if you tweet something and like somewhat related to wrestling, like you could say the Underminer is a jobber, I'll
do
retweet
that.
that. All right.
Do that.
And
How about
then
you
you'll be
just
seen
tweet a
the
shout out?
millions. Just kidding. I have 17,000 followers, but you'll be seen by my audience.
So many more than us. How about you just tweet us and then, have everybody know about us, like, just give us a shout out. But, you won't. So thank you guys so much for checking us out. Like I said, all the social medias in the world is basically what we belong to. So just make sure you're on there. And again, check out You Suck the Podcast whenever it returns. It never returned, so who cares? But anyway.
Yeah. I don't, as well as I do.
We don't know when. Matt doesn't even know how to do a movie podcast, let alone a wrestling podcast. So thank you guys so much for checking us out.
Buy the right movie tickets.
Wait, what?
Or buy the right movie tickets.
Oh yeah, he doesn't even know how to buy movie tickets. Can't even read. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. We'll see you on the other side. Bye bye.
Take care, guys.